What's good, everybody? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson back at it again with another episode and collaboration here on the YouTube channel, guys. Make sure that you go ahead and like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more content. Today, I'm just so excited. We have a great YouTuber by the name of the Lead Attorney, and yes, he is a real attorney. I'm gonna let him explain who he is, what the channel is all about. Go ahead, brother.
Thank you so much, O'Shea. And, I mentioned this before we talked, but I just really want to take the time and the opportunity again just to thank you for having me on your show, having me on your platform. I only have a couple thousand subscribers. So for someone like you to have me on, it's a huge help to me. And it really speaks to the kind of person that you are. I know you've had a lot of people on here talking about a lot of different types of ways for men to improve themselves. And that's one of the reasons why I started my channel. And so I didn't think I would get this opportunity until maybe a year or two later to kind of collaborate with someone that's so big on a platform like yours. So I just really appreciate that. I am an attorney. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm an attorney out of Atlanta. I've been practicing a little over 19 years, and I've dedicated basically my whole practice to family law. And I've handled divorces where the people didn't have two pennies to bang together, and I've handled divorces where the marital property has been well over millions of dollars. So I have a lot of information, a lot of experience that most people just don't have. And you hear in the manosphere about issues like child support, having children. You hear a lot about marriage and divorce. And there's a lot of people going back and forth about whether you should get married or whether you shouldn't. What are the risks of divorce? What are the risks in having children, child support, property division, alimony? You hear all these things, but there are not a lot of family law attorneys in this space. And basically, I would kind of want to be that voice. I see a need for it. There's a lot of misinformation out there. There are a lot of people who are making big generalizations that other people can listen to and get the wrong idea. It's certainly true that a lot of men get in trouble with, for example, the child support system. But I think the main reason, apart from the child support system being unfair, the main reason that they're in this trouble is because no one told them crucial information before they started making these decisions that landed them in this situation. A lot of times they say it takes a village to raise up someone, and you don't really have that with men these days. You don't have a lot of men saying, hey, I'm in the divorce system. I'm getting crushed up by the machine. Let me tell you what's going on specifically in my case. You don't see that. You do see it sometimes, but certainly not enough. And the vast majority of men that I represent, and even men on the other side, they're sitting there in the witness stand and I'm cross-examining them and they don't know what's going on. You can tell they're just shell-shocked. And it's because they didn't have the information 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 10 years ago to avoid this type of situation. And so when you have a manosphere talking about legal issues, that's all child support is, that's all divorce is, just legal issues, and you don't have an attorney in this space, there's a real need. And again, I saw you, O'Shea, you had Uncle D on here, Dennis Sperlin, the great Dennis Sperlin out there in Texas. He's a great attorney. He does, I think, PI, so personal injury, making the big money, the big bucks, millions out there with these car accidents and trucking accidents. And of course, he knows, even though he doesn't specialize in family law, as an attorney and the great attorney that he is, he knows a lot about it. But you don't really have anyone in this space who's been specializing in it for the past 2 decades. And so that's where I thought I would just kind of turn on YouTube and start a little channel and start telling these men what I see on a day-to-day basis. And I see it from both sides. I don't have a lot of videos up. I only have about 15. I feel bad when I see your channel and you're putting out 3 or 4 videos a day, and I'm lucky if I get 1 out a month. So I'm gonna try to start that up. But I see even with my 15 videos, I get comments from women saying, hey, you only help men, or you're only out here supporting men. And it's true that my content is geared towards men, but what these women don't realize is that the majority of my clients are women. Women are these days, I mean, they're filing cases left and right. I think the common statistic that you hear is 70% of the divorces are filed by women, and a lot of men go through these divorces without attorneys. And so to say that I only help men is a misunderstanding of kind of where I've coming from, where my practice is. But the point is, I see it from both sides. Of course, I represent men too, but I also represent a ton of women. And I see how these men on the other side suffer. And I'm sick of it, because these men are only in this situation, the vast majority of them are only in this situation because they lacked the information in the beginning. And the few comments that I'm getting on my few videos, I'm getting some comments from men saying, hey man, I'm 24 or I'm 22, I'm in college and no one's ever told me this. And, I'm really taking it to heart. And that really makes me feel good. It makes me really want to continue to put out content when I see change. And so that's kind of where my background is, and kind of where I'm coming from, and what I would hope to do in the future with this channel.
Okay. And I definitely it's entertaining also to it keeps your attention when you look at your videos on YouTube. I asked you for some ideas, and you methodically gave me 4 or 5 sets of categories that we could talk about. And today we're going to talk about something a little bit unique, which is pre-child support advice, right? So for guys who don't have children, pre-child support advice. And I thought that was interesting. Why are we talking about pre-child support advice today?
Right, pre-child support advice, and this, it's kind of a joke, but in a sense, it's real too, because if you decide to have children, you could definitely wind up in the child support system. I did a video yesterday or the day before about a man that was caught up in the child support system and how the child support system is broken. And again, I appreciate you shouting out that video. It did extremely well based on my small channel, based on what I'm used to seeing the numbers. And it did well because of you. So I really appreciate that, O'Shea. But I put a lot of work into these videos because I feel strongly about this. And there are things that men can do to kind of not bulletproof themselves from any type of child support situation, because when you have children, sometimes even if you don't have children, you'll still wind up in this system. But there are things that men can kind of plan out and think about before they decide to go down that road. Mm-hmm. And I see it in my practice all the time. One of the common things that I see is men having more children than they really want.
Okay.
And that kind of goes back to the whole argument about abortion, which I don't really want to get into too much, but it's safe to say that, a woman can decide to terminate a pregnancy, but you as a man cannot. And so you need to know that going in. I see a lot of marriages that have been ruined by an extra kid. The couple agrees to have 2 kids, and then the wife starts dropping hints that she wants a 3rd kid. And the guy hears these hints, the husband hears these hints and thinks that, she's just talking. Mm-hmm. When really that hint is her way of telling you, no, we're gonna have this kid. And 3 months later, 6 months later, now she's pregnant and the husband can't do anything about it. And now the husband has this, it sounds harsh to say, but he has this extra mouth to feed, and this is not a mouth that he wanted in the first place. So he has real resentment by that. And you'll have a kid, and arguments come all the time. The wife will say, hey, can you watch, this 3rd kid? Oh, well, you watch the kid. I didn't want the kid anyway. I didn't want him anyway. And, that'll constantly be brought up.
Wow. And divorces happen. I never even thought about that. That actually happens. A lot of divorces happen because of an additional kid the guy didn't want.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Because a lot of times men and women are not on the same page. In fact, I'm going to do a video about this. I was kind of thinking about it. I think I'm going to title it like the 5-hint rule, where if your spouse or even your girlfriend or anybody if she hints to, but especially your spouse in this particular situation, if she gives you 5 hints that she wants to have another kid, you're going to have another kid if you don't get out of that situation. You need to understand after that 5th hint that you only have 2 choices. You either stay in the relationship and you have that kid, or you get out. And a lot of times that might mean a divorce. But if you're going to get divorced anyway, it's better to get divorced with 3 kids than with 4. And a lot of times, if the wife really loves you, she'll give you more than 5 hints. She'll tell you straight up, "Hey, I want to have a kid." But a lot of times you don't get that. A lot of times the husbands, they hear, "Oh, wouldn't it be nice to have a kid?" Or my friend Sally, she has a kid, and I miss being pregnant. You hear a lot of that. "Oh, I miss being pregnant. I miss this. I miss that." And the way that the man's mind works, he thinks that she's just talking about what she misses. She's just talking about her emotions. When a lot of times women, that's their way of really communicating to you in an indirect way. "Hey, I want this kid."
Mm-hmm.
And men are strong in a lot of areas. I don't know one woman in my life that can bench press 95 pounds, and a guy can walk up and grab a 95-pound barbell and sling it across the room. But women are strong in a lot of areas too. Mm-hmm. And I've seen over 20 years that when a woman wants to have a kid, she is stronger than the man, because she's stronger because the woman can wait. You didn't have she wants the kid and you didn't have the kid on Friday. Okay. And you didn't have the kid on Saturday. But what about 3 months from now? What about 6 months from now? You're going to slip up one time. And that's all it needs.
Right.
And once she's pregnant, that's it.
Yep.
Because she already told you. And, so you're going to get these hints if she loves you. But, a lot of women, if they don't love you, they might give you 3 hints. They might give you 0 hints. These celebrities that have these kids that have babies by these groupies. Let's say Drake, for example. I think he had a baby by an adult entertainer or something like that. I bet you $1. I bet you anything. He didn't get 1 hint. Right. Like, there are a lot of basketball players that don't get 1 hint. A lot of football players. So you have to be on your P's and Q's about this, and it's real. I just did a video where there was a study by the USDA saying that to raise a child from 0 to 18 costs around $230,000. And it's adjustable depending on how much you make, but that's a substantial amount of money for one child. And when you start having 2 and 3 and 4 kids, and you're all in the child support system, you need to think about this stuff in the beginning, because once you're in it, it's too late. It's too late. So the first kind of advice I would say to any man is to recognize for himself, individually, do you want kids? And if you do not want kids, then you cannot be in a relationship with a woman who wants kids, because I've seen it. She's stronger than you, and she will get a kid out of you, especially if you're married. It's naive of men to think that they can outlast a woman who is determined on having a kid. You're not going to be able to do it. And then if you do want a child, 2 children, 3 children, you need to analyze why you want these children. And you need to understand how the child support system works. You got to understand it. Your man, Kevin Samuels out here in Atlanta, he talks to a lot of women. And one of the things that he'll ask women is, are you in therapy? Right? And so many of these women are like, yeah, I was in therapy 2 years. I was in therapy 3 years, but I stopped for this or that. And Kevin will be like, oh, well, why'd you stop? And she'll say, oh, I stopped for this reason or that reason. And Kevin will say, well, you need to get back. You need to get back on it. And I understand from the woman's point of view. I have my own views about therapy. I don't want to down it, but you can spend 2-3 years in therapy, going twice a week, paying just thousands and thousands of dollars, and you might not see many results. But I think men can learn from that too. And I'm not saying men should get therapy, but I think a fantastic idea, really a mandatory idea, if you're a father and you have a son who's 16, 17, 18, 20, 25 years old, don't take your son to therapy. Don't take that 22-year-old to therapy, but take him to one session, just one session with a divorce attorney. Just pay for an hour. And that hour is going to cost you. That hour can easily cost you $250 to take your 23-year-old son, your 21-year-old nephew to that counseling session. Mm-hmm. If you look at what the women are spending, right, to get their minds right, just twice a week, once a week for 2, 3, and 4 years. I'm just talking about one session.
One session. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just one. And even yourself, if you don't have that uncle, if you don't have that father, and you're 22, you're 24, you're engaged, right? And you're starting to get these hints that your fiance wants this and she wants that. You don't have to take her. You don't have to tell her. Go for yourself. Save up $250. Save up $300. Take yourself to one counseling session to really understand how the child support system works. I felt really good about, I only have 15 videos up, and I really put my heart into them. But whenever I put them up, I recognize errors that I made or things that I should have said. And I this last video, this guy had to pay. He went to, I don't want to re-summarize the whole video, but basically he fought for 50-50 custody of his kid, won it, and then the wife, or the ex, she was ex at the time, she had 3 kids. The ex-wife turned around and applied for child support, and then the judge reopened the case and put him on child support, even though he has 50-50 custody of his kids. So he's paying a substantial amount, because not only does he have 3 daughters that he shares custody with, these 3 daughters are with him half of the time. So he's paying for the clothes, he's paying for the medical, he's paying for the education, he's paying for half of everything, just like the mom. But now he has to pay her $600 a month in child support. Well, that's the whole thing. He has to pay $600 in child support. And what I didn't say was, which is what I should have said to really clarify it, the $600 that this man is paying, and he's not a rich man, he just works at the post office, a normal guy. $600 a month. But that $600 goes to the state. It doesn't even go to the mom.
What?
Yes. When a mother applies for government aid, what the state will do is say, okay, listen, we'll give you the aid, but you have to tell us where the father is. You got to give us his full name. You got to give us his address, where he works. And it's better if you tell us that, he's not helping you out and you haven't seen him. And so that's what this woman did. Even though this man had 50-50 custody of the kids, this woman said, I don't know where he is. Just give me the money. So the state says, fine, here's your little money. And then they go and open up a case against him. And he shows up to court and he's like, why is this case even open? I have 50-50 custody. And the judge asked him, the judge says, well, okay, you have 50-50 custody, but how did you help the mom when those kids are over there with her? And the guy's like, what are you talking about? These are my kids too. I spend 50-50 half of the time with them. How do I have to help her? The judge orders him to pay $600. What I didn't, a month, which is substantial for him. But what I didn't say was the mom's not even getting that money. The kids aren't even getting that $600. The $600 is going to the state
for the benefits that she's already getting.
That's exactly right. So, we think about this welfare system, and you hear a lot of negativity about welfare, and a lot of people say, oh, well, welfare is just stealing from the Republicans. Let's say you're stealing from the rich. You got these welfare queens. What they don't know is that the welfare system in so many ways is set up to have poor people pay for those poor people. So this is not all these rich companies, not all these rich people that are funding the welfare system. The poor people are funding it through the child support system. So man, even though he shares custody of his kid, his kids having to pay $600, and those $600 don't even go to his kids. Those $600 go to the state of California every single month to help them pay their employee expenses or to buy pencils or who knows what they do with the money. But these types of things that people don't know. But if you just spent 1 hour, just 1 hour with a divorce attorney, He will tell you so many things. I mean, and you can talk to him about child support. You can talk to him about marriage, divorce, property division. You can talk to him about so many things. I mean, he could certainly talk to you for longer than an hour. But if you go in there and you say, hey, listen, I have a girlfriend. I'm 24. She's 24. You know, I'm making 35 a year. I'm just getting started. She wants to start having kids, you know? Because you hear in the manosphere, right? There are all these men say, oh, you know, you women, you want to have these kids at 35. You want to get a high value man at 35. You should have got him at 25. You should have got him at 24, right? So you have a woman who's doing what the men say, and this man.
Okay, exactly.
Right? You're pressuring this guy, this 24-year-old guy, to have a kid when this guy, you know, just got out of college trying to make a way. When you're 24, you don't know anything about child support. You don't know how it works. You just know that there's a concept out there called child support. But if someone takes you to an attorney, or you take yourself to an attorney and find out how it works, you'll be amazed. You'll be amazed at some of the things that this attorney can tell you in 1 hour that will save you so much. You know, people say, well, you'll hear guys say, oh, you know, it's so much cheaper to buy a condom than it is to have a child, which is totally true, right? It's so much cheaper to pay $300 for an attorney's time. And listen, I know I'm an attorney. Don't come to me. This is not an advertisement. Do not call me. Don't come to my office. Go to another attorney. I'm not trying to say come to me and pay me for an hour. Do not go to me. Go to somebody else. Somebody specifically who practices, an attorney that practices in your county, in your jurisdiction. Yes, all family law attorneys know more or less about how the child support system works, but child support is a little bit different in every state. And so you go to an attorney who practices in your county, then he's going to know all the judges. He's going to know all the laws. He's going to know how the child support guidelines are set up. He's going to know everything. So don't come to me for this. I'm not telling you to consult with me. I'm telling you to consult with someone in your jurisdiction, whether you're 19, 18, 24, 34, and you're thinking about having a kid. Get this type of consultation. You know, Kevin Samuels is telling all these women to this. Women have been doing it for years, but guys don't seek this out, and it can be so helpful. But don't do this for 2 years. Don't do it for 1 year. Just do it one time. I would definitely recommend that for any man who's thinking about having kids, because you need to understand how it works. It's very easy for people, men and women, to say, hey, you know, I'm going to go into this and I feel confident about it and it's not going to turn out badly. But sadly, that's just not how it works. You know, we know that 50% of divorces in this country fail. And so you need to know kind of what you're looking at. And when you see a stat from the government saying, hey, 0 to 18 is going to cost you $200,000, you need to know how that works before you say, oh, well, you know, I want 3 kids. I want 4 kids by this lady because she wants it, right? Because you see that a lot. So that's a huge thing, I would say. Let me
ask you this, because you know, obviously, before you want to have children, I do know that women who tend to be poor have more children, right? Because you know, in the manosphere, a lot of guys look at it and they say this is a very important statement. A lot of guys in the manosphere say, "Well, you know what? What she makes doesn't matter. I'm not dating her for what she makes. I'm dating her for her femininity, for what she looks like." And then the guy also, you know, I don't know how much money he may make, but obviously I saw this one documentary. I forgot what it was called. It was out of Philadelphia. And it was all these women that were like poor. They had a lot of children. If a guy wants to have kids, in your opinion, as a family attorney, what sort of woman in general, like, should he be looking? Maybe if you're going to do this, obviously there's no way to really tell it, but are there certain characteristics financially and educational wise he should look for, or and then also in himself? You know, you talked about guys making $35,000 a year, $40,000 a year. That's very little money to possibly be on child support. What kind of man should you know? What kind of job should he have if he can do that? And then also talk about the qualities in women that he maybe should look for, especially financially or educational wise.
Oh, that is such an excellent question. And it is a question that no man really asks himself this question, and it's so important. So I'm glad that you asked it to me, because I might not have talked about it. But you really have to look at two things, two big things. You have to look at the woman, and you have to look at yourself. Now, in terms of yourself, what are you going to look at? You have to look at your station in life. I've been doing divorces a long time, and I'll tell you that half of these divorces, there are 2 kids, 3 kids, and I tell the guy, I run the numbers, and I tell the client how much he's going to pay in child support. He kind of rolls his eyes a little bit, and he says, that's more than it costs to raise these kids. And I'm like, yeah, it's more than it costs to raise them. But they're like, that's fine. They don't care. And then, child support system gets a lot of bad rap, which it should, because it's totally unfair. But, like a broken clock, it works sometimes. It really does. And there are a lot of men who don't have a problem with it. But there are a lot of men who it destroys. It just absolutely destroys. So I sit back and I say, well, what's the difference between these 2 men? Why is it that, or these 2 groups of men, why is it that some men don't have a problem with the child support system at all? And some men, they cannot live month to month. Every month they're going deeper and deeper into the hole. And a huge factor is the amount of money that they make. I'm going to do a video on this guy, and he started from nothing and, built himself up. He built himself a gym. He's a YouTuber. He's selling merchandise. Positive, he's making over $1 million a year. And he was always saying, I don't want a kid. I don't want a kid. I don't want a kid. But what happened? He was in this relationship, on and off relationship, for years with this woman. And this woman was a good woman. Everybody who follows this channel, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's exactly who it is.
Yeah.
Every person who follows this channel knows that this woman is a good woman, but she kept pressing him. They would break up and get back together, break up and get back together, but no one supported this man like she did. Well, he's got all these videos saying about how he doesn't want kids, how he'll never have a kid, and his daughter's like 4 years old now, right? So you say, well, number one, that's embarrassing, because you told all these men that you didn't want this, you didn't want that. I think even AMS made a video on him and called him the biggest simp in the world, which is a little hard. But you look at him as a father, and you know that even if their relationship doesn't work out, 1 kid, I'm making $1 million a year. How much of child support is the state really gonna take? Are they gonna take $5,000? They're gonna take 10 grand. Let's say they take 10 grand. If I'm making $1 million a year, here's your 10 grand for my kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll have a lot of men, like the video I did last time, where they want to take $600 for 3 kids, which really isn't a lot for 3 kids. But the money isn't going to those kids anyway, right? So that's a whole other thing. But there are a lot of men who an extra $600 after tax out of their check will bankrupt them.
Yeah.
They get that extra $600 taken out, and they get a flat tire, and they're done. They're absolutely done. $600 and a flat tire, and it's over. They can't get to work. They can't repair the car. They miss work. They get fired, and it's a wrap. So Chris Jones is should I say his name?
Yeah, that's fine.
He's a man that even if he gets put on child support, he's not going to have one problem. He could have 4 or 5 kids. That's a lot. But even if he did, he would be fine. But you'll have a lot of men out here, 24-year-olds, 28-year-olds, they're making 40 grand, they get 2 kids and they're done. So you need to know that a good way to kind of help bulletproof yourself from the child support system, you gotta make more money. Now, there's a way to make it, right? And I'm gonna do a video on the best way to make it, but I'll tell you a tip for the worst way to make it. The worst way to make your money if you are thinking about having children is through overtime. I have seen more men devastated by overtime than almost any other thing. What's the problem with overtime? Here's the way child support works. They say, listen, how much money do you make? And the guy will say, well, I make $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, whatever. Let's say I make $5,000 a month. And let's say 1,000 of that is coming from overtime, right? Now, we all know that overtime isn't guaranteed. We all know that overtime is kind of an extra benefit, but there are a lot of jobs where, man, if you want the overtime, you can pretty much get it, right? And that overtime is good money. You feel like you're getting over because you're not having to work as long to make the money, because you're getting time and a half. Sometimes you're getting twice your wage amount. And so, your girlfriend knows that you're working the overtime, or your wife knows, and you work a lot of overtime when you can get it. Well, when you get put on child support is going to say, well, how much do you make a month? And you're going to say $4,000. And then child support says, well, I thought you made $5,000. And you're going to say, no. I mean, I do make $5,000, but 1,000 of that is overtime. And child support's like, well, we're going to include that. And you say, well, how can you include that? It's not guaranteed. It could be that next week I don't have the ability to work this overtime. I don't get this extra $1,000, but you're pegging my amount at this $1,000. So it's like a fantasy. You're pretending that I'm making this $1,000, and it could be that I'm not. And judges, they don't care. Child support enforcement, they don't care. If you earn overtime, it will absolutely be considered in your child support. What does that mean? That means that if you make $3,000, but you make an extra $2,000 in child support, from now on, you have to work that overtime. It's not an option anymore, because if you do not work that overtime, then you don't make enough to pay what your child support is ordered, because your child support was ordered at considering that you make $5,000, but now you make $3,000. So now you don't make enough. So you've got two options. You either work that overtime until your kids turn 18 years old, or you get a second job if you get fired or the overtime isn't allowed anymore. So imagine that. Imagine you've got a job and it's a good job and you can get this $2,000 extra in overtime, but then your boss comes and says, "Hey, work's a little slow. We're cutting off overtime for the next 6 months." You're in trouble. You're in trouble. Now you got to go to FedEx, or you got to go to UPS, or you got to go to Amazon warehouse, and you got to get a second job. You got to get a second job because you don't make enough at your first job because you're not getting the overtime anymore. Same thing happens with bonuses. Same thing happens with commissions. But bonuses and commissions, they're not going to wreck you like the overtime will. So a lot of men use overtime, and they should, because it's a huge advantage, but it has a cost to it that you will not believe when it comes to having children. So in terms of you considering what types of things you can do to help protect yourself from child support, you definitely want to address that. Now, for the woman, you asked what types of things should a man consider,
right,
when thinking about the mother of his children. You're absolutely right that in the manosphere, people say, "Oh, I don't care how much she makes. I don't care how much she makes." And man, that's true. Like if Patrice O'Neal, the late great Patrice O'Neal, has a joke about, a man seeing a woman laid out, passed out behind a dumpster, and he'll throw his whole marriage away. Like a lot of men, they don't care. They don't care how much you make. They don't care. They just care about how you look. But that's setting yourself up for disaster. If your woman makes as much or more than you, your child support usually is not going to be that bad. Where you see men just getting wrecked is when there's a big disparity in how much he makes versus how much she makes. It's the disparity that's really going to get you. Even with divorces, People talk about, oh, I was ground up in the divorce machine. You're not really. Divorce isn't really going to hit you very hard if you're making 80,000 and she's making 80,000. I've represented people where they're making 40,000 a year. The husband's making 40,000. The wife's making 40. Nothing happens. They got a couple kids. The child support is what it is. They don't. They got a couple cars. They got a house with $15,000 worth of equity. It's nothing. But if you take that $40,000 wife, $40,000 a year wife, and you put her with a man that's making 150, that man, he's gonna get so screwed over. He's gonna get screwed over. The same thing happens with child support. If there's not a big disparity there, it's gonna help you out. Well, let me say this: in most states, there are a few states. I think about 13 states in the nation where they don't even consider how much the woman makes. And that was the old system. Georgia used to be on that system too. I probably know, but that's the old way. That's an unfair way, because it could be that you are, let's say I'm making $50,000 a year, and my wife, she's making 500,000, right? Mm-hmm. That should be taken into account. The fact that she makes 10 times more than me, but there's still 13, 14 states in the nation where they say, we don't care how much she makes, we're only focusing on you.
Wow.
So, yeah, we don't care that the kids' responsibilities, the kids' costs, they're already met. We're just focusing in on you, and you're going to pay. That's the old way. So there still are a few states that are under the old way, but under the modern way, that it's called the income shares model. Under the new way, the wife's income is considered as well. And you want to get her income up as much as possible. And you used to see this back in the day. You don't see it anymore. But man, a wife would see the divorce coming down the pipe, and she would quit. She would quit her job. So now her income is zero, right? It used to be 40,000. Now it's zero because she quit, or she somehow miraculously got fired from a job she's been at for 4 years. Now she's fired. You don't see that anymore because judges have caught on to it. So they'll impute income to her. They'll say, well, now that you've quit, we're still going to pretend that you make the 40,000. But you used to see that a lot. But wives know, women know that the less that they make, the more that you're going to pay. So you need to understand that if you have children with a woman, like my man LA did in the video, with 3 kids, and she's that lady in the video, she hadn't worked in 10 years. If you're having kids, if you have a child by a woman who hasn't worked in 10 years, you were on child support before you laid down.
Uh-oh.
There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You were on child support before you laid down. You can see them coming. Some of the women that these men choose they are definitely going to get help. And if it's not going to be from you, it's going to be from the government, which means the government's going to come after you to get the help. So to the extent that your child's mother is about her business, is on point. You have a woman making 75,000, a woman making 95,000, a woman making 140,000. We've got so many women in Atlanta doing great. You don't really need, in terms of the child support, you don't really need to worry about that so much. But again, there are so many other factors to consider in this. So for example, a lot of men don't know, and they find out the very hard way that, say I meet a woman in New York. She's from New York. I'm from New York. We moved down here to Atlanta. She's like, oh, I want to go back to New York. I'm like, baby, listen, you don't even have to work. I'm doing great down here. I'm a dentist, or, I'm a whatever, and I'm making 200 grand, 300 grand. Kick your feet up. You don't have to do anything. We have, 2 or 3 kids. And she files for divorce because she's tired of me. She's tired of my work schedule. If I'm a dentist, I have to work a lot, or this or that. And we're in Atlanta, right? So she's going to get primary physical custody. You're not going to get custody of your kids the majority of cases. I think in Atlanta, maybe 85 to 90% of the women get custody just off the bat. Even if you're a great father, you don't really have a chance. Unless the mothers gone bad. You know, if the mother's in jail, if she's on heroin, you're going to get custody. But in a typical case with an average mother, a fine mother, a mediocre mother, you're going to get visitation with your own kids, right? With your own kids. Now, what you didn't realize when you moved this lady down to from New York is that when she divorces you, guess where she's going to go? You know, she don't have any family here. She don't have a lot of friends here. She's going to go right back to New York. Well, guess who she's going with? She's going with your kids, right? Every person in the United States has a constitutional right to move.
Right.
So
that happens all the time.
Yeah, you are going to see your kids on spring break. You're going to get a month or two with them in the summer, right? You're going to get some time in Christmas. And that's about it. You know, your kids are going to get off the plane here at Hartsfield Jackson. How much do you know about them, right? You don't see them on a day-to-day basis like you did when you live with them. Your kids can get taken away at any moment. You need to understand that. If the woman decides, your ex-wife, your girlfriend, whoever, if she decides that she's going to take those kids, she's going to take them in a lot of instances. Now, there are states that are coming around. There's Florida, there's California, which are more lenient. They're not as conservative as we are down here in the South, where you have a fighting chance. There are some states where you just don't have a fighting chance. Your kids are gonna get taken away if the mother thinks about it, if she wants to do that. So you really have to look at the qualities of the mother. Is she a nice person? Is she not a nice person? I've represented all divorce attorneys have. All divorce attorneys have represented women where we say, oh man, this is a great case. We can do this, we can do that, we're gonna get this, we're gonna get that. You know what the woman says? She says, listen, don't even worry about it. I know I can get this. I know I can get that. I know I can do this to him. I know I can do that to him. Don't worry about it. And you're like, hey, no, wait, listen now. This is all the stuff that we can do to help you out. My job is to help you. My job is to maximize your benefit. A lot of women, they're not interested in that. You know, what type of mother do you have? Do you have the type of mother? Do you have the type of woman who's going to try to cut your throat? Or do you have the type of woman who is going to cut you some slack? And you can see it. Like if you really get to know this person before you start having kids, which you should, you can see a person's character. You know, when you guys get into an argument, does she just say, hey, you know, whatever? Does she go into another room? Or is she threatening to call the police on you all the time when you haven't done anything? Is she all up in your face, hit me? You know? There are women who will show you how they're going to be when stuff goes down in the end. And
right.
These are the people that you do not want to be around when it goes down, because the justice system is going to enable them. Mm-hmm. And you are going to feel like you are unheard. You are going to feel like your rights aren't defended. You are going to feel like the system is unfair, and you are going to be right. You're going to be right. So you definitely want to consider, to answer your question. I know I'm an attorney, right? So we're all long-winded. But to answer your question, in terms of a woman, you need to think about her character. You need to think about her job prospects. Is this a person who's worked in a stable job for the past 5 years, 6 years? Does she make $70,000, $80,000? It sounds bad to say, because you don't want to say, oh, you know, I'm only going to have a baby by a woman who makes 80 grand, right? That in one sense, that's ridiculous. Even though that's what you hear a lot of women say, oh, I only want to be with a man who makes 6 figures, right? Now, we as men know that that's ridiculous, because there are a lot of good men who don't make 100,000. There are a lot of good fathers, a lot of good husbands who don't make 100,000. So to get on Kevin Samuels and say you only want to be with a man that makes 100,000 a year or above, you deserve to get shot down. So we can't flip it and then be a man and say, I only want to have children with a woman that makes 80 grand. You're falling into the same trap. But if that woman hasn't worked in 10 years, when you get divorced, she's not going to start working. She's just not going to do it. She's going to get help from somewhere. Where's she going to get the help from? She's going to get it from you, right? So to the extent that you have a woman who's responsible, and there are, billions of women out here are responsible, billions of men. We're just people, right? You just it's such an important decision to have children with someone. You just have to choose a responsible person. If I was going to try to wrap it up, not to be too long-winded and not to get into any details, if you can have a child by a person that's responsible, a person that's not going to fly off the handle, a person that loves you, and you're going to need love, man, because when that judge is looking at you, it would be great, if when he goes to pound down the gavel, if she kind of stops the hand and says, hold up, let's just do this. And I see it all the time. I see it. I was in a divorce case a couple of months ago where this lady, she really could have, they were married for 30 years.
Wow.
And there was a lot of property and she could have screwed us. Man, she could have screwed us bad. She said, listen, let's just do this and this and this. And I was like, okay, where's the pen? We're going to sign this right now because it was so good. In the manosphere, women get a bad rap. And I know it sounds bad to say this, but you hear all these men, really downing women. And are there women that are bad? Yes, but there are women that are so good. The problem with the men in the manosphere is that they know their case, right? They know it backwards and forwards. They know they went to court 3 times, hired 3 different attorneys, and got screwed over all 3 times.
Right.
And they know their friend's case who went to the gym, but then and then maybe they know their neighbor's case, but that's just 3 cases. But you take a person like me with the job that I have, I've been doing this for 20 years. I've seen thousands of cases. So it's like if you're on the street and you're trying to find out where to go, but there's buildings over here, there's trees, cars, you don't really know where to go. You're trying to get from point A to point B. But if you could be like Superman and just kind of fly up 500 feet, you would say, oh, well, I'm here. I just need to go there. You would see it all, right?
Right.
And if you have my type of job, you see so many cases. You start seeing that it's not just the women. Like if you get in this manosphere, it's like an echo chamber of, oh, women this or women that. There are billions of great women that are not going to use the system to its full potential. But again, there are women that absolutely will. They will weaponize the system against you. So you want to gravitate towards the women who are reasonable. Warren Buffett, right? The great Warren Buffett, maybe top 5 most money in the world. I don't know what he is now. He used to be number 1, number 2. It used to be him and Bill Gates. He had they were interviewing him and he said the most important decision. He was talking to a large auditorium of college students and grad students. And he said the most important decision, and this is from a man who's worth, I don't know, $85 billion, something crazy like that. He said the most important decision that the majority of you are going to make is who's going to be your spouse. That's the most important decision. And this is from a man who knows what he's talking about. And he's absolutely right. If you get with a good person, the good person is going to be good even if the times are harsh. And you don't get that in the manosphere. What you also don't get in the manosphere, because there are a lot of nice guys in the manosphere. You don't hear a lot of the Tyrones in there, Chad. You don't hear these people making the videos. You hear a lot of guys who were nice and they got screwed over because they didn't know what was going on until it was too late. I have represented monsters. I have represented men who are absolute monsters, where you're in trial and you're hearing what the wife is saying on the stand, and you look over to him. Now you're representing them and you're going to fight the best for your case, but you're like, man, you should be in prison. You should absolutely be in. The only reason that you're not in prison is because this lady up here on the stand trying to save you, even in the divorce case, right? So I don't want to seem like I'm coming down on women, because there are guys out here who are ruthless. I mean, just absolute ruthless. I don't want to get into the details, but things that just absolutely should not happen. But you don't hear that in the manosphere. You only get one side. And so I think that's what I kind of want to bring to this conversation. A person who is been in the trenches of this 20 years and I've seen so much and I know so much. Do I want to help men out? Yes. Honestly, I would help women out too if I thought they needed the help. These women, you don't really need a lot of help. Now, women message me all the time and I answer their questions. I give them great advice because honestly, I really do think it's about people. I don't think it's about the gender. I don't think it's about the race. I don't think it's about what country you're from. It's just about your person, who you are as a person in your situation, right? So when women message me and they say, oh, you only help men, like they don't know the half of it. You know, I'm going to trial tomorrow representing a woman. They don't know, right? But men need extra help. They need extra help because this system, it punishes the person that's in the man's role. And it's really important to say that. And I don't want to get into, you know, what's a man's role, what's a woman's role. You know, one of the best comments I ever got was a guy who said, man, I don't know how they let you have a channel. Right. I don't know how you're not canceled yet. He said, keep going. Right. Because it's so political. The times right now are so politically, so politically correct. You got to be careful. So I don't really want to go into what's a man's role, what's a woman's role. But traditionally speaking, we know that the man has generally been the provider. Right. And so that role is, well, you can kind of say that's the role of a provider. And when you get divorced and you have to pay that alimony, when you get divorced and have to pay that child support, you will be the provider. But it's very important that people know, men and women, but particularly men, that you're not necessarily being punished for your gender. You're being punished for your role. There are women in the man's role, right? You take Halle Berry, for example. She's been complaining very recently that she's having to pay $15,000 a month in child support to her ex-husband, right? Because he's just some little Swedish model or whatever he is. She's Halle Berry, not as great as she was back then, but she's still Halle Berry, $15,000 a month. What does she say? Halle Berry says, $15,000 a month is ridiculous. No child needs $15,000 a month to live. This is way too much. This isn't even child support. This is really alimony. Guys have been saying that for 50 years.
Right.
Right? You know, you take Adele, right? Adele had to pay millions of dollars in alimony. What do all her fans scream? All her fans are like, oh, why can't the man be a man? Why can't the man work? Right? Why can't the man support himself? Why does he have to accept the alimony? That's what men have been saying for 50 years. Why can't she get it? Right? So it's not that you're being punished for being a man. You're being punished for being in the man's role. One of my best friends, she's an attorney, does really well, maybe 300, 400 grand a year. She's in a relationship with a guy a marriage. They've been married a long time. This guy hasn't worked in 10 years. He hasn't worked in 10 years. He's a stay-at-home husband. You don't hear about this in the manosphere. There are a lot of kept men. Divorce attorneys, you guys don't see it. We see it. We're doing these cases where women are paying alimony. Every year, it's more and more and more. More women are paying alimony. More women are paying alimony. And these women they're pissed off. They're like, why do I have to pay him anything? Why did he have to work? You know, my best friend's husband, who's a great guy. He hasn't worked in 10 years. If they get divorced, my friend is going to have to back up the Brinks truck. She's going to be paying alimony for the rest of her life.
Wow.
For the rest of her life. This man had a job. She took him out of that job. They had a kid. He watches the kid. She's a teenager now. And, you know, his value in the workforce has been so diminished. He doesn't know how to do anything now, right? He stays at home and plays Xbox. You hear all this thing about, you hear this in the manosphere too, about women, they only want high value men. And a lot of men fall into the trap of listening to what people say as opposed to actually watching what they do. A lot of people will say they want high value men, but you look at them in the mall, right? You look at them in the grocery store. Who are they with?
Right.
Right. They're with guys making $50,000 a year, right? Yep. One of my best friends is this lady that I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. She's a great person, but you know, just an average person like you and me. Her husband's an average person. Her husband never has to work, right? There are women out here keeping men. Right? The problem with men in the manosphere, we try to use our ears to figure out what's going on, as opposed to using our eyes and just to really see what's going. There are women out here in a man's role. That's the point. And so it's very important that men know that you're being punished for the role, not necessarily who you are. You know, these judges, they don't hate you. They really don't care anything about you. You know, they don't care enough to hate you. But if you give them a chance, they'll screw you over. But it's because of the role that you're in. But to be fair to the judges, if you put a woman in that man's role, the judges screw the woman over too, right? You take a woman who's an executive and making $200,000 a year, and her husband makes $30,000. See who gets the debt in the relationship. See who gets all the property in the relationship. See who gets the alimony in the relationship. Right, so that's really important too. So to kind of link it back to your other point about what should a man look for in a wife, you kind of you just want a solid, reasonable woman. You don't want to necessarily go for what you hear in this manosphere type stuff. You can kind of get tainted. There's a lot of good information in the manosphere. If you don't go to the manosphere, you will miss out on crucial information that you will not get anywhere else. So I do not want to say that the manosphere is bad, but there is misinformation in it because so much of it concerns the law, and there are no family law lawyers in this space. I can't name one. Of course, Uncle D, but again, he's PI, he's personal injury, making millions in these trucking accidents. I can't name one family law attorney doing this. Mm-hmm. So that's why I said, listen, I'm sick of seeing it. I'm sick of seeing the injustice, and I want to help the underdogs out. And the underdogs in this situation are men. Are there women who are underdogs? Yes, I just got a comment from a lady yesterday, and she was talking about how unfair the child support system is. How her ex-husband has their kids and she has to pay all that child support, and she can't get back in to fight for custody, and no one's taking her seriously, and she can't afford an attorney. She's exactly right. She's exactly right. You know, it's not as if child support can only screw men. Like it screws the position, and if you happen to be in this position, you're gonna get screwed. But kind of link it back again. What a man can do is just kind of make sure that the woman is a reasonable, on point, just a good-hearted, hard-working mother, hard-working woman. If you do that, you're probably going to be okay.
So let me ask you this as we close out. It's been an excellent episode. Guys are really going to appreciate this. What kind of content, obviously you're an attorney with family law, you have 15 videos. What kind of content should the guys expect for subscribing to your channel?
Yeah, I really want to, and I know I talked about supporting women and, women and men, but I really do think that the men are getting a raw deal. And so I want to talk about the situations that men confront. YouTube, for some reason, suggested this video to me of this guy who has 600 subscribers, and he just posts YouTube videos when he can. He's not really a YouTuber. He's just doing it for him, basically. And most of his videos concern making or doing work on his truck, right? So, but he talked about his child support situation, and I saw it, and I was like, no one knows what's going on. I see this video and it touches my heart because I see it so often. And I know that he didn't know what the deal was going in. And there are one or two things that he could have done to avoid that situation. So what I want to do is tell the men who are coming up, the men who didn't have that uncle at the barbecue to say, hey man, this is what happens. This is what happens. So many of us in these situations are just in the situations because we don't know any better. We don't know the system. These women, they go to counseling, they go to therapy. You haven't heard of one person taking their son to see a divorce attorney to figure out what's going on with child support. You don't hear about it. We don't support ourselves as men like we should, which again is why I'm so thankful for you for giving me this opportunity to be on your platform and to expand my voice, because I really do think that I have information, number one, that needs to be heard, but more important, it's just information that's not out there, right? So I'm going to give you this information for free. You don't have to pay me $250. You have to pay me $300. You have to pay me $500 for the consult. People ask me questions in the comments. I really try to answer them. If you go to my comment section, you will not see another attorney who's answering questions like I am, who's responding like I am. Do I respond to 100%? No, but damn sure 90% of these things I'm responding to. I have some great subscribers. They tip me. They buy me little Starbucks coffees, and I'm so appreciative of that. But again, I'm just doing this to let you guys know what's going on. I understand why there are no attorneys in this space, because attorneys have houses too. We have bills to pay too. I was telling you, O'Shea, just before that I put my last video up on Facebook, and a judge started to go in on the video, right?
Right.
And so I'm like, hey, you want to talk about the video? We can talk about the video, but first go watch the video, because I'm sure you haven't watched it. But a lot of attorneys don't want to get into it with judges. A lot of attorneys don't want to get into it with prosecutors. You don't want to make a video that offends a judge on Monday, and then on Wednesday you're in her courtroom. You don't want that. But I've been doing this damn near 20 years. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. I want to get this content out. Now, it's true, I only have 15 videos up, and I need to be more like you, O'Shea, and start pushing them out. And I'm going to try to do that. But on my channel, it's absolutely going to be geared to help men. Women are also helped by it, though. I get a lot of comments by saying, hey, my husband is in this exact same situation. I'm going to tell him what you said. I'm going to tell him to watch this video. My boyfriend is dealing with a crazy baby mama who's just put him on child support. I'm going to show him this video. So a lot of men just think that, or a lot of women just think that, these videos are just for men, but they don't understand that these men are going to be in new relationships with women, right? So it's also helping the woman out, because it's making a stronger man, it's making a stronger relationship. So that's what people can expect from me on my channel. They can expect to see a voice that they're not getting. I can't name one family law attorney on YouTube who's putting out content that I'm putting out, who's not pulling punches, who's being politically incorrect, who's basically telling the truth. I'm not trying to be out here shock value, but I'm trying to tell you guys the truth of what's going on. And there can be blowback by that. And a lot of attorneys aren't going to risk it, but I'm going to risk it. And I appreciate you, O'Shea, helping me risk it. If I get canceled early, it'll probably be your fault for getting my videos, my channels out here. But yeah, that's what you can look forward to. That's what people can look forward to if they subscribe to my channel. Family law, how it really is. No one's out here trying to sell you anything. I don't have coffee cups. I don't have shirts. I'm just trying to give you the knowledge that I have accumulated over all of these years. I have a little link in my videos if you want to do a one-on-one consultation, and I thank the people who do these consultations, but I do them cheap. It's like $75 for 30 minutes, and we always go over 30 minutes anyway, so it usually turns to $75 an hour. Good luck finding an attorney who will talk to you about whatever you want for $75. It's not going to happen. But again, this isn't an ad. I want people to subscribe to my videos and learn from this, and you can do it for free. You can do it absolutely for free. You don't have to buy me a coffee. You don't have to buy me anything. So that's what you can expect. That's what you're going to get from my channel. And there are not a lot of people in my position who are going to give it to you. They're going to sell it to you. But I'm going to give it to you because I'm tired of seeing the injustice that goes on in the system. I see it every day. I'm going to keep seeing it. But this is kind of my way of giving back, kind of like what you're doing, O'Shea. You help young video creators kind of put themselves out there, and you don't charge us. There's nothing you gain from it. You got a huge channel, so having somebody on your channel with 2,000 subscribers, in a way, it's ridiculous. So you're just doing it because you're trying to help, and that's what I'm doing too.
All right, guys, you heard it first here. So thank you so much. It was a very interesting episode. Go check out the first comment pinned to the top, guys. The lead attorney. Very entertaining videos. Very great information. Again, he's the only person that I've seen doing it, white or black, in the way that he's doing it, Manosphere. So, guys, check out, support our brother here out of the Atlanta, Georgia area. And a lot of you brothers are in there in Atlanta. As you know, the performing remains an all-time high. I'm out.